Yeah, rock and roll.
Going live tonight for real.
Yo, YouTube. Welcome back to Wednesday Night Live with myself, Adam the Dollar Box, and Charlie, JC3 Cards and Collectibles. Stuart the Goat, who you see here in more real life fashion on your screen, ready to go. And we talk all things low end card selling. So, welcome to the show. If you haven't been here before, thanks for joining us. If you have before, make sure you stay active in that chat. That's what it's all about. And those who are watching it recorded, thanks for watching. Try to join us live if you can next time. We're live every Wednesday at 8 Central Standard Time.
Always best live when you can join in on the conversation in real time.
Yeah, what'd you think of my intro? That wasn't bad, hey? Off the cuff?
Yeah.
I got some...
did you rehearse it at all?
No.
Not at all?
I don't rehearse anything. You know that. Yeah.
I know.
I've done a lot of different, before all this gig happened, I've done a lot of different TV interviews and stuff like that. So, the scariest one was at Celebration in Chicago when I went out on the stage. And Mark Hamill was out there and a couple other main actors and stuff. Yeah, right, that guy. And I had to present a honorary membership to a club with the two hosts of the Star Wars show. And I got chosen to do it because I had been on the Star Wars show before out in California. So anyway, but everything I'd done before was recorded. So it's just you and a bunch of cameras, and you can do multiple shoots, and they have different cameras filming you, and they edit it and cut it and do all that stuff and make you look like you know what the hell you're doing, which I don't, of course. But that's like walking out on a stage and there's 20-some thousand people standing there all looking at you, cameras going off and whatever. And yeah, it's a little, I don't get intimidated by like celebrities or anything. That's never been a thing for me, but just a ginormous crowd.
Perform with celebrities is something different.
Right. Well, and the stage is like this platform. Think of like a rock stage, right? You know, where you can walk out on this platform and then you're in like the center, right?
Yep.
So you're up here and then all the people are all around here. Well, that's what this was.
Sure.
So it's like everywhere you look, there's all these people underneath you and stuff, and yeah, it was really interesting. But anyway, so what do we have to talk about tonight? We want to talk a little bit about the GOAT show. We're going to give you an update on that. It's coming up quick, and we're very excited where we're at with that. So we want to talk about that. eBay standard envelope and some of the issues that they've been having there. Maybe let's start there because that's been weird because I haven't seen the problems that everybody else has seen.
Yeah, it's so you had a couple, but not to the extent everybody had, right?
No, I went from like, I'm never 100% because I always have like a Puerto Rico envelope out there, or, you know, something where it's not going to have some scanning or something misses a scan. You know, I do enough quantity that to be at 100% is almost impossible anyway.
Okay.
But I'm usually like 99 point something, or at the lowest point, like 98 point something. I had that problem this past summer where I had that whole batch where I put the wrong tracking number in. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When we were at the National, I had to go through each one and change the stupid tracking number.
Yeah.
So I've never had that issue since. I've been a little bit more careful about entering the number. But the weird thing was I went from like 99, let's just say 99.5. That wasn't the exact number. It was somewhere around there. And then it went down to like 97 point something, which is a fairly significant drop. But then it went right back up to 99, like within a day. So I just haven't seen, but I have much bigger numbers. So maybe if it was only one day of tracking that had dropped, if you're only sending a couple packages, that one day might be enough to drop you 10%.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, that's not a big enough number. Those percentages don't get affected as much the more volume you have.
That's a good point. So first of all, let's kind of set the stage of what we're talking about. If you haven't experienced it, a lot of eBay card sellers were experiencing an issue with eBay's carrier scans uploading. So they would print their labels, but then if you looked at your seller scorecard, your seller performance scorecard, it would show a category for uploaded on time, but no carrier scans. And what that meant is if you went and looked at your tracking, it wouldn't show any updates anywhere along the way. Okay. So a number of sellers started voicing concerns that this was popping up all of a sudden. And we talked about it a little bit last week on our show, actually. And we said, well, we get one here and there, but that shouldn't be enough to really upturn the apple cart because of your volume. And I even said that. Well, wouldn't you know it, a couple days later, all of a sudden I had 18 of these and it dropped me from 99% to 93 point something. And it was just enough where it changed. If we evaluated you today, you would be above standard and not a top seller. So I said, well, wait a minute, something is going on here. And then as a number of us started to explore the issue, we found that carrier scans were available on third-party tracking sites like parcelapps.com and a couple other things. So in my case, Pitney Bowes showed uploading all the carrier scans all the way through transit to delivery. And that's the other thing. The majority of our customers were getting their product, leaving feedback. There was a slight increase in some INRs. I think I had maybe 3 the last 2 weeks, something like that. But then most of them showed up anyway. So we ended up calling eBay actually to say, hey, what gives? I'm doing all the right things, but we're being shown on our scorecards that you're going to take away my top seller status for the next review period if this continues. And to eBay's credit, I think for the majority of us, there may be a few that are still working through it. They went in and seemingly corrected that, because I know a couple days later, I was right back up to 99%. Today, I'm at 100% with no missing carrier scans. And this is over the course of like 5 days. So clearly there was something going on, and eBay acknowledged that, hey, we heard enough. There's something going on. Your seller performance will not be affected. If they're still there at the next review period, give us a call back and we'll work to have them removed. But it looks like they did get everything sorted out, but it caused quite an uproar for a while with some people saying, hey, I'm shutting down my store. I'm going someplace else.
Yeah. Now, a couple things to note here. And I don't mean to put down anybody having concerns when you see those numbers drop. No one likes to see that, of course. I don't either. But there's a couple things to remember here. Number one, there's a lot of parts at play that happen with what we're doing and the logistics of this, bigger than I think we really think about each day. And it's important to pay attention to it so that you know when things happen and then to address them. But clearly it was just the tracking wasn't getting picked up. That's what it was. Yeah. Wasn't that you weren't printing labels, that the labels weren't legit, all this mail was getting returned, it wasn't anything like that. It's simply that the scans weren't showing up in the tracking. So relatively easy thing for them to fix. As soon as it picks up the numbers, boom, that's all going to be there. The other thing that I noticed, and I don't keep up with it all day long on the posts, I try to poke in here and there, but I noticed a lot of, comments about, I lost my top seller status, and blah, blah. That's not how it works either, just to reiterate. They have it set up so that you're just reviewed once a month. So you can drop from 100% down to 90%. It doesn't drop your top rated seller. Unless you just happen to be unlucky enough that it's the day before your review day. but
Yeah.
you just get reviewed 1 day per month. So, like my review date is the 20th and it's the 26th. So if the scans drop today and it takes a day or two for them to come back, I'm not going to fall out of top seller anyway.
Right.
And for most sellers, most smaller time hobby sellers, if you want to call them that, or side gig sellers, the top rated seller program doesn't really get you much. You're not really losing a whole lot if for some reason you drop, excuse me, for a month, for one reason or another. If you're doing the 1 day shipping and all that, and you're getting that discount with the top rated seller plus, then yeah, it would affect you somewhat financially, a few pennies
Right.
here and there. But those add up, as we know. So obviously volume would impact that. Like it would cost me a couple $100 a month, if I didn't have those pennies that I get back on each order.
Right.
So, and I understand some of the theory is, okay, well, as soon as I'm not top rated seller, I don't get priority placement and people looking at my cards and things like that. And that may be true. There's really no like hardcore evidence of any of that, but yeah. So I think we just, when those glitches appear, we do want to make, catch note of it. And I was glad you called and, somebody took some time and addressed it a little bit with them and see, what the heck are you guys doing, or what did you miss?
Right.
That we're in this situation. But
yeah,
I was shocked when I went back to read the string, and I was like, man, it's like the sky is falling. The sky's not falling, So, stick with us, post in there. We'll try to, the veterans who've been doing this a long time, will try to jump in there and say, hey, it's okay. Here's a number you can call. This has happened before, give it a day, it'll catch up.
Right.
Stuff like that. Because I've even had it too where it says wasn't scanned on time. And it's just because it just hasn't picked up the scan yet. It was dropped off on time. Once it picks up the scan, boom, those go away. It updates that file.
Yeah. This wasn't like 1 or 2 day things though. This was like a week and no scans picked up. And you're right. The sky really wasn't falling. It's not like you were immediately impacted negatively with your seller fee reductions. Again, you might get a few more messages because buyers that watch it closely are like, hey, I'm not seeing any scans. Are you sure you shipped this? And you got some of those messages. But really, when I called eBay, the conversation I had with them was about, one, are you aware? I just want to make sure you're aware there's an issue.
Right.
And if it's not resolved, it'll be a bigger issue in 30 days or whenever everybody's, seller performance eval takes place. In my case, it's like mid-March. So if eBay didn't know there was an issue and this just kept going, we could have been at least a little bit negatively impacted on the next eval, right? So the course of my conversation was, hey, here's everything I found in researching this. Here's what my tracking says on the eBay site. Here's what the carrier scans show on this other site. And my buyers are leaving me feedback and getting their item. So clearly there's something in the data link that you're using with USPS that's not uploading. How can I help? I said, I'm more than happy to be able to help you any way I can. If I can give you any more information, let me know. I'll provide it so that I can help you get to the bottom of this and resolve it, because there's a lot of noise in the marketplace right now about this. And they were much appreciated. 24 hours later, I started seeing positive changes to what was happening.
Sure.
So I think it was just about awareness. In fact, if you're in our Discord, you saw me say, hey, based on the conversation I had, I heard some encouraging things. I'm going to take a leap of faith that they're going to have this fixed in a few days. And They did.
Yeah.
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 Now,
and you have to remember, too, that eBay standard envelope isn't just for cards. It's been expanded quite a bit. It's patches and coins and stickers and lanyards. There's all kinds of stuff that gets listed. And if your tracking number isn't showing up, it's not showing up for them either.
Right.
So,
yeah. And, the whole thing, I'm glad they fixed it right away. It must have been like an API connection type of thing.
right.
But they don't, what I will say is they don't really do themselves any favors with their customer service, being accessible and acknowledging things, because there were a lot of people reaching out in various modes of communication, getting absolutely nothing, or kind of getting stonewalled. Prior to my attempts to communicate, they reached somebody and were pretty much told, no, there's nothing to worry about. There's no problem here. Carry on. And they didn't acknowledge it. At least by the time I got to them, they were acknowledging it. And then, like you said, I was able to share the 800 number with folks, because I also tried the help pages. I posted it in the community. I tried the Facebook chat link for eBay. Like I went every avenue I could before I went to a phone call, and I was getting no response, basically. So then I eventually went to the phone call, and I've only had to call 2 or 3 times in the year and a half I've been doing this. And every time they've been very helpful over the phone, but any other mode of communication has been kind of sketchy, like not real effective.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there. They're kind of more, they almost see themselves more as just a escrow agent or a middleman, where all they do is take you, give you as a seller to have a place to put your stuff, and then make sure that they're out there enough that the buyers know who they are, which isn't the challenge these days. Everybody knows eBay.
Yeah.
And then just sort of put the two of us together, and they take their piece out of the pie. And they're not really that interested in helping customers either. Buyers, I should say. So yeah, I would say that that's something that they would definitely need to work on. I think they would have to change their entire model in order for that to be a focus, though.
Yeah.
Because they've been really just about, watching the fraud, protecting the buyers, because if your buyers leave, you got nothing. There'll always be sellers. There's always people who are going to want to sell stuff, but that's kind of seems like their priority, and then everything else just whatever. If we have a big enough problem, we'll try to do something about it, but otherwise you're kind of on your own.
Yeah.
We're all independent contractors in a sense. We just happen to use eBay as the platform to sell our products. So how much do they really have to care about the dollar box? They really don't.
Right.
And that's where, as you build your store up, and maybe you get to an anchor store or something like that, where you can have a dedicated, agent, maybe that would be something that would be more beneficial. I don't know. I don't really ever talk to eBay, so it doesn't seem like it would have much value to me, but there are times where things come up and I'm like, God, you guys are idiots. You just don't handle any of this right, and there is no way to contact them. So I would completely agree with that. That's definitely something that they maybe need to reconsider in their business model, of providing a little bit more service between the buyers and the sellers.
Yeah.
But let's face it, the way all these companies want to go nowadays is remove the people and then have like everything be on, AI obviously is going to have a big influence on this, but they just want, even the chat, right? So you go in the chat and, hey, how can I help you? It's not a person. You're just typing in a question, and then it goes through a Rolodex of common questions, and it spits out this answer. Now, that being said, if you talk to a person, they're probably going to give you the same Rolodex of answers, but
probably.
But that's kind of business 101 these days. I hate to say it, but that's just really how it is.
The way it operates.
Yeah. So I think the fact that, enough people notified them that, hey, this is a problem, these aren't showing up, it was probably enough to motivate them to Hey, let's fix this. Let's go fix this thing. And I'm sure they have, amazing techs that do that kind of stuff.
Right.
That they pay the big bucks to, and they went in and, oh, this is broken. Let's put this back together, and everybody's scans will show up and problem solved.
Yeah, and that was really the thing, is just getting the masses to say something, right? Like, I go through this in my corporate day job every day with some tech things, and something will not be working right, and we just get used to doing a workaround with it, right? And then I'll bump in the hallway to someone on our tech teams, and I'll be like, "Hey, what's the status of this fix you guys are working on?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? I didn't hear anything on that for months. I didn't think that was an issue anymore." I'm like, "No, it's still broken. We just work around it every day so we don't report it anymore."
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing with this eBay issue. If we don't say something when something we know is broken, how can we expect anyone to fix it?
And see, and I didn't see numbers at all for an entire week. I had maybe 100 of them or something that showed there was no tracking. Well, I do way more than that in a week. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way it was a week's worth. It was maybe a day or two.
On
my account. On my account, I can't speak for everybody else, but yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. I wonder if it just broke on certain accounts, or I don't know.
The most I had was 18, and they were all between the 13th and the 18th purchase dates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't get any messages from customers saying, "Hey, checking tracking and nothing's showing up." I didn't get any of that. So
yeah.
And based on my volume, you can kind of assume that if I'm not getting those inquiries, I would think that most, smaller sellers wouldn't be for sure, getting that. So, but it did seem like some users were definitely having a bigger issue with it than others. And, you have to kind of address your own issues as your own things come up too. I've had it too, where I've gotten a big box of envelopes back because my post office didn't like the postage that was on it.
Yeah.
And, other people say, "Oh, I've never had that problem." Well, then you shouldn't address it. It's not a problem for you. So you kind of have to, you have to say something if something doesn't look like it's working right, for sure.
Yep, for sure.
That's the only way you're going to get that resolution. All right. But I think we're on the good now with that. I haven't heard anybody, today. I haven't seen anybody today post on there that it seemed to be an issue or anything. In fact, it was kind of the opposite. I'd seen a few people post, "Oh, I'm back up to 99%. I'm back up to 100,
right.
whatever it was."
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think eBay responded well once they got a critical mass saying, "Hey, what the heck's going on?"
Yeah. Yeah, and I generally don't watch my scorecard that close. However, if it were to say I'm going to drop out of top rated seller, then I would, look into it a little bit further, of course.
Yeah.
I don't really care if I'm 99% or 98%. That doesn't really matter to me.
I would have had no idea if the conversation didn't kick up so much in the Discord.
Same.
If it, when we left the show last Wednesday, it wasn't even a topic on my mind anymore. I was like, it's just a couple of cards, It's not a real big thing. And then it really hit me where, like I said, I had 18 all of a sudden just pop up out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, now I understand. This really is an issue.
And that speaks highly to our Discord. We try to talk about it every week, but think about it. That was a great place for newer sellers to go. We had a lot of sellers that were really concerned with what was going on, and hey, has this happened before? What do I do with this? Who do I contact? Where do I go? I tried the Facebook page. I'm not getting any answers. And that's why the community is so important. It allowed us to sort of work together and talk about what was going on. And, and as soon as more people were posting, yeah, mine really dropped too. Yeah, mine dropped too. Yeah, mine dropped too. Oh, there's definitely a problem here.
Yeah.
And that was good. That was good because you weren't going to get that information by trying to talk to eBay. That they weren't going to provide that.
Yeah, they weren't going to post some seller notice saying there's a problem with carrier scans unless we spoke up.
Right. So if you're not on the Discord, we highly suggest it. It is free. There's a link that's coming along right now at the bottom of the screen here. Click on that, get yourself in there. It's no password or special entry or anything like that. Just jump on in and check it out. Got some good channels set up there for lots of different topics of discussion for what we do.
Not only is it free, it pays you with knowledge and camaraderie.
Oh my gosh, and that is invaluable. That is invaluable, I would say. So I think that kind of puts the ESE thing to bed. I believe we, everybody's kind of chilled out about it a little bit, but I would just advise everybody, just kind of relax on some of that stuff because you got to give them some time to put the patch in or do whatever they're doing to try to get that stuff back. All it meant was that it wasn't currently being tracked. It wasn't punishing you. Like I said, unless you just happen to land inconveniently on that day as you review, you could have potentially dropped it. But you have to remember too that's also evaluated every month. So even if you dropped for 1 month, you'll be right back up the next month once it gets fixed. So, all right, let's talk a little. Oh, go ahead.
Remember one of the recent card shows? I don't remember which one it was, but remember I found those Cardsupio cards, and you're like, "Hey, those aren't the right companion cards. That's the Merino Mini," and I don't even remember what the full size pocket one was. Well, literally while we were talking, I just sold the Merino Mini.
Yeah, the minis actually sell better than the regular cards because they're for obvious reasons. But I always check those as soon as I see the front is a Cardsupio card. First thing I do is flip it over and just see what's in the pocket in the back. Yeah. I found one once where it was maybe that one was Merino too, but it was like some junky generic player on the front, like Trent Dilfer or something, and then it was Merino in the back, and the guy wanted it was in a quarter box. And I'm like, yeah, but but I wouldn't have bought it if it was just the Dilfer card. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
That's
it could
why
be
I was like,
your determining factor.
Merino, that's the Mini, right?
Yeah.
I'll still take that.
Yeah, for sure. So that's those are fun cards. Yeah, the little pockets in the back. Just like the cyber cells too, where you have the cellophane card that goes in the front, and then the card with the picture that goes in the back. Have you ever seen those?
I have not.
So the film has like a red and blue tint to it, kind of like 3D glasses.
Okay, yeah.
And then the player card that you'd put behind it. So it's like a window, on the front of the card, right? An acetate window, and then there's a board, cardboard border around it. Then you put the player's card behind it, and the player's card looks kind of dull and boring. But once you put it behind that cellophane and you look at it, then it has that.
I've heard of these, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a film cell kind of. Is the best way to put it. But those are really interesting too. So you have to watch for those because you can't really sell one without the other. So you want to make sure that you have both parts of that card, or it's going to be a tough market for you.
Right.
And same thing with the Cardsupios when you list them. If you're listing the card without the mini, I always note in there, no mini card or something like that.
Right.
Now I always do a front and back image, but it can be really hard to see that little card on the back. They're tiny. Yeah. They're like micro cards.
Yeah, they're like stamps.
Little micro tops. Yeah, so I usually will point out on there, Brett Favre Cardsupio, no mini card or something, or includes mini card. If you have it, even better. But yeah, so super fun cards. I'm not surprised you got it there.
I did try to find the proper companion cards to put together so I could sell them whole, and I just could not find a good deal. Some of it I just couldn't find at all. And then when I did find some opportunities, it was not a good price.
Too expensive, yeah. Well, they don't come up very often. They're kind of rare. They're kind of rare. I got mine in like a lot of different collections I bought and stuff over the years. Mainly buying Favre stuff. I get marsupials of different players and that, mixed in with it, and that's kind of how I acquired mine. But yeah, I very rarely see them in dollar, value boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk a little bit about the goat show. We've got a goat show coming up. You want to throw our graphic up on the screen there?
Yeah, I can throw that.
And then maybe we'll do some chat after that before we get to the next topic.
Looking for it. What did I do with it here? It's not where I thought it was. Well, you can start talking while I look for it.
Yeah, that's fine. We have the Goat Card Show coming up on March 16th in Green Bay, Wisconsin at the historic Riverside Ballroom. Free admission for attendees. We do have just a couple tables left. I can't believe we're going to be sold out this early. It'll be really nice. And then we're going to start a waiting list because we still have some inquiries coming in too. And as the team, we were kind of discussing, well, what do we do with this? We have some on hold that haven't been paid for, things like that. And so what we decided to do is just sell out our full table layout as we currently have it, start a waiting list. If we get enough where we can add a whole row, like an extra row on to our table so that it still stays in the correct alignment, then we might open up some more table availability. But yeah, this show seems very popular, and a lot of our regular dealers are returning. They have awesome stuff for sale. Lots of good buys. We've got free packs for the kids. We're giving out a prismatic ETB box for Pokemon as a prize. So we got an awesome prize there. Huge demand for that product. And we do have a new game we're going to implement. We haven't made a big announcement on Facebook of this yet, but we have mini goats. We've been talking about this for a little bit, where we're going to have a game called Hide a Goat, and we're going to contact our dealers. We're putting that communication together right now. Yep, Charlie's got the mini goats there, and we're going to get some dealers that want to volunteer to have a goat hidden at their table, and a patron that comes in and gets to that table and says, "Hey, I found the goat," gets to take the goat up to our head table, where we will issue them some goat bucks for them to spend at any dealer at the show. So we're very excited about that. It's fun to give out some, a little bit of money towards some card purchases. We think that'll be a good time, and it'll be good for the dealers. Of course, they'll get, some additional sales because they get that free money, and we'll obviously cover the dealers that would receive any goat bucks. We'll cover them with real money, of course. But also just to get, everybody really going around to every table. That's something we're trying to promote. Make sure you check out all the dealers, what they've got, and something fun for the kids. If they're not into cards or don't have much money, at least they'll have something to do, going around and talking to different dealers and looking for the goats. And it ties our goat theme in nicely. So we're really excited about that. So more to come on that. We're crafting the email communication with that. There's a little bit more to put together with something like that because you have to have some dealers that want to do it, and we had to create our own money goat bucks for you to be able to spend, because of course we want to make sure that that's legit. We don't have anybody bringing in goat bucks. We want to make our own.
Right.
So just a few different pieces of communication there, and then that'll all be put out in greater detail.
This is right before my birthday, too. I didn't even think about that.
When's your birthday?
The 22nd, so the following Saturday.
Ooh. Well, there you go. What better birthday present than a goat card show?
That'll start a week of birthday parties.
That sounds super fun. I don't. Not that thrilled with birthdays anymore.
No.
Past that point in life, yeah. But this will be a great way for anybody to spend their day. Hopefully the weather holds up well. We got tons of parking. There's parking in the back too. At our last show, the parking lot actually filled up, and a couple of people drove around to try to find a spot. Now that was also a challenge because there was snow, so there was some snow piled in the back part of the lot, covered up some spaces. It was hard to see lines because it was snowing, so cars didn't quite park in the spots correctly. We probably had some overlap on some of the parking spots, but there is parking in the back too. There is no entrance back there, so you have to kind of walk around to the front, but it's not that big a building that it would be that terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, we hope to see many of you there. If you can make it, that'd be great. Charlie and I are going to do a live show from the stage. It's probably something we should announce on Facebook too. We kind of talked about it on here, but haven't put anything out on there yet. But we're going to host this show live on a Sunday morning / afternoon. We don't have a time yet. We'll put something in the Discord, and I'll post something on the channel here. Charlie will post something on his channel too, stating what time we're going to do a live, and we're going to have the show in the background of us. And we thought that would be a fun way to bring the show live to any of you who can't attend, as well as just have a fun chat. And maybe some of you will come up with some really good chat questions like, hey, what's the coolest card there for sale? Or what did you guys buy today? Or what did you sell today? Or, something like that. I think that'll be fun. It'll give this show a little bit of a new angle. We'll still do a Wednesday night show too. So we're not just skipping that to do the Sunday show.
Yeah.
But we'll have a Wednesday and a Sunday and then a Wednesday the next week as well. So we'll be really busy, doing some lives at that time. But I think it'll be super fun to do.
If you're out in person, you might even get yourself a Stu sticker too.
Yeah, we're working on some merchandising stuff. We've got some table runners, which those did ship, Charlie. I don't know if you knew that, but
I heard that. Yeah,
they got shipped to us, but they're still not here yet.
Plenty of time.
So we've got some table runners. We've got a banner. So we're putting plenty of resources back into the show to make it really, really fun and cool. And I think the stickers are going to be a lot of fun, and the goat bucks and all that good stuff. So we're going to have some fidget toys for the kids. We'll have packs to give away. Yeah, so good times. We're going to keep building on the show and keep making it as awesome as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that we're giving away Pokemon this time. We did autographed helmets the last two shows, which were also amazing. I was excited that we were going to do something a little bit different. We had something for the non-sport, gaming collectors, which we have plenty of at our show,
right.
As well as dealers too. We have plenty of Pokemon dealers, so that brings out some more Pokemon buyers. That's going to be good for them too. So, if you have a table on hold and you haven't paid yet, you would have gotten an email from us that says we're only going to hold it to such and such date. Make sure you pay by then, otherwise we're going to release those tables, and we do have people who want the tables.
Yep.
We only have a couple of actual tables that aren't on hold that are available, and we got a message this morning of somebody else who wants to take a table that's been vended before as well, that I talked to, and they want a table. So if they pay, now we're down to like 2 tables left. So get in while you can. $50 for the first table, $40 for each additional. And then we are going to, this next week, myself and Charlie's better half will go sign the deal for the June show, which I think is June 8th, I want to say, off the top of my head.
I don't think I heard an official date yet. I think I missed that conversation.
Well, we did reserve a date. We always reserve one, but don't put payment on it until we know what we're doing for sure. But that was the date. It was going to be that first Sunday after school gets out. So I think it was like June 8th, I want to say. Anyway, well, more about that down the road. We're obviously talking about the current one at this point, but so we'll be going in there this next week. We'll sign the contracts, make the payments, do all that stuff. So we're definitely gonna keep it going, and our next show will be in June. So enough about that, because not all of you are going to be interested in that if you're not local. If you want to come into the show and you don't live here, contact myself or Charlie, and we will help you get some accommodations. We can show you around the town that weekend, and you can get to Lambeau and see what's going on there. This would be a great show to do that, because they're starting to close down the roads that week for the draft. So you can kind of go see, how the draft stuff's going to be set up, with Lambeau and the surrounding area there. Yeah, should be a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm picking up some cacao. I already got it set up. I got some cacao I'm picking up. So I'm excited about that.
Going to be a big deal around here. Every day now we're starting to see more and more communication about it. So if you're going to pick a once in a lifetime trip to Green Bay and you're not going to see an actual football game, this would probably be a good time to come out.
Or the worst time. It depends on if you like crowds, and it might be harder to get a hotel room. I don't know, but we're more than happy to try to give you a hand if you need some help, or you don't know where to stay or where to eat or whatever. We've got that covered. I lived here pretty much my entire life, other than some small pieces here and there. I was out doing other stuff, so we know the town real well.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some chat. We're neglecting our chat scares. Dan is here. Happy Hump Day, all. I think that's the wrong animal. We don't do camels here. We do goats. Wait, that didn't come out right. That did not sound good. Big Boy is here. I love Big Boy. I wish there were more Big Boys. I ate at Big Boy all the time when I was a kid, and it was amazing.
In many ways, the Big Boy never left.
Every time I hear the name Big Boy, that's what I think of, because it's Mike Myers, and he is chef's kiss. Yeah, in many ways, the Big Boy never left, sir. It still offers delicious food at competitive prices.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like Big Boy. I've got no complaints. In George Webb.
And George Webb. I haven't been to a George Webb in like forever. But we did get to go to a Bob Evans when we were in Cleveland, so that was pretty special.
Yeah, we did go to Bob Evans, didn't we?
Yeah, because I pretty much asked you every day, and it was literally next to our hotel. We didn't even have to drive there. Yeah, we didn't have to drive there. We literally walked across the parking lot, and there was Bob Evans. It was amazing.
Yep.
Big Boy's got a question. He says, "What is the brand and size of team bags you use for your storage? I'm looking for that big flat bag that holds more than 20 cards, please and thank you." So I'm with Charlie. I like the one-touch resealable bags, and that's why, because it's got the taller. You don't want like graded card bags or anything; those are too darn big. But the team bags really are made for like 10 to 20 cards. And I personally, you can use any bag you want, but I went right to the one-touch seal bags, and they've worked well for me ever since.
Yeah.
And I like those because I can fit like 40 to 50 cards in there in most cases. And nice big flap, so you don't have that kind of little tiny curl of a flap that keeps popping up. You have to remember, you're going to be opening this and closing it, and opening it and closing it. So they do lose some stick.
Filled right here, so you can get quite a bit in there. This isn't even full yet.
Yeah, and they lose their stick over time. So you like that bigger flap. Here's a full bag that I just made, and you can see the flap goes almost halfway down. the front of the card. So you get a nice seal, nice convenient spot on the top to put your label and stuff. So they're like $3 to $3.50 a pack.
Yeah, this
So
one was
about
$3.50.
3 cents. Yeah, about 3 cents a bag. I reuse my bags. So when I have a bag, I'm gonna talk about this because it was a topic of conversation not that long ago, this evening, about multiple listings and moving bags and doing all that stuff. So what I do with mine is, so this bag was from September 4th, bag number 8. But this bag had gotten down to just like 3 or 4 cards. So what I do is, and this is kind of a way that I can take inventory on my current listings too. I pop those 4 cards out and I change the SKUs in the system into a new bag so that I have another nice full bag. Um, and then that allows me to double check the inventory of this bag. So I should have those 4 cards, still listed in inventory under this bag number. If I don't, well, something wasn't listed, or if I have more cards listed in here than what's left, that's a problem also. So it just kind of allows me to take inventory as I go. It took me a while because you don't sell out a bag for the most part in one day. So, but now pretty much every day, like here's another one that I just took out today. Pretty much every day I have like 2 or 3 bags now that I'm pulling out. So I'm able to do a little bit of inventory work, get a fresh bag going, and then I reuse this bag. So when I make a bag tomorrow, I just simply pull this label off. This is my new bag. Start putting my cards in as I list them. Put a new tape label on it, and boom, this is a new bag now in my set. So it reduces the cost too, because you can, instead of just keeping 4 cards in a bag, I can reuse this bag for free and put another 50 cards in it. And when the bags get really small, they get kind of lost in the shuffle with the other bags, and it sort of defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do. The
I feel
label
they
gets really
last a
tiny.
pretty long time.
What's that?
I feel the resealable strips last a really long time too. Like,
I've had a few bags where it hasn't. Or sometimes maybe you don't fold it all the way and it kind of gets caught on the bag in front of it, and stuck to it or something. So I've had a few where, or sometimes the flap will rip. I've had it where, like, I'll start getting, like, here, I got a little bit of a tear on this one side here on this one. No big deal. This is still usable, but I've had a
yeah,
couple where it's like a big rip down the side or something, and then you just gotta toss them once that bag is done.
yeah,
It doesn't hold the cards anymore. Then you got to toss them. So
yeah,
it's not like you're never gonna have to buy bags at some point, but I buy them a lot less often than I used to
yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm able to reuse quite a few of them.
And the other thing I like is they're multifunctional, right? Like, you can use them for a lot of different things as they come out. Like today, I sold a card to France, and because I knew it would be going through the international shipping program, well, one, I threw in a couple extra base copies of the parallel card they bought, just because I'm like, if you're gonna pay $20 to ship it to France, I may as well give you a couple extra cards. But I then put it in a card saver, but then I also bagged it, and the card savers fit right in those bags as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So it
Top
works really
top
nice.
loads fit, and that's what I do with mine. Like, let's say I have a 20 card order. I do a top load sandwich. So I'll put 1 card in each of the top loads, and then I put all the sleeved cards in the middle. And then, yeah, these fit perfectly in here. Seal it up real nice, and then I ship that in the padded envelope, as a package. So, yeah, I use them for shipping as well. Yeah, they're great bags.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good value at 3 cents a bag. You can do a lot with that. So,
I sold a Bob Eubanks auto from Wildcard Decades today too, and that fits just fine in one of those one touch bags. So
mhm. Yeah, they're super universal. Other than a graded card, you're not going to fit a graded card in it. But I have some graded card, like bags or sleeves or whatever. So, I just have something specific for that purpose. But outside of that, it fits just about anything. So, thicker cards, it'll fit. Wider cards, whatever. You should be able to.
I saw
Like Charlie
Dan's
said,
on
use them for
today,
a lot.
so that was my wild card plug. Dan, make sure you're getting some more of that wild card
Tonight?
Yeah.
Well, when something go on sale tonight?
I don't know if they have a new special going on or anything.
I thought that's true.
Just in general.
Gotcha. All right. We're gonna answer this question again. Hey, brother, promotion rate. What do you recommend? Thanks. You guys are awesome. Darren, thanks for joining us. We're very happy to have you here. This is kind of a loaded question. I think it's different for everybody. Charlie and I just talked about this a couple days ago. I was telling him because I've made some changes in this area, and I was telling him my results, generic information on my results. But I was doing dynamic rate on everything, and I think that's a smart move when you're building your store because you need to give up a little bit of money to get some attention. You have to spend more on marketing when you're new. All right. If you guys don't think that's true, your growth rate is going to not be very good. So I think the dynamic rate is great because it's going to keep you competitive with every seller that's out there. And then you can grow your business from there, start building your brand and get followers to your store, regular customers that return and buy more and that kind of thing. But one thing I'll tell you that a lot of people don't know is when you start a promotion campaign, so if you do a dynamic ad campaign, you can only put, I think it's 42,000 listings in there or 48,000, something like that. And then you have to start another campaign, which I don't know why that's the number. It's very strange, but that's what it is. So when I got up to those listing numbers, I had to start another promotional campaign. So you can still promote, any items you post beyond that or list beyond that. It just can't be in that same campaign. So I thought, this is my chance to, try to change my campaign a little bit. So I started a campaign where I capped a rate on it. And I don't want to share what that rate is, but I did that. And it's costing me, less, a significant amount less than what it was at the dynamic rate. And I still have excellent sales numbers. So it hasn't really dropped my sales or anything like that. And it's kind of fun when I get a sale, I can see, oh, yep, that's the rate that I set it at, because it's always the top number generally. And then, oh, yep, that was the dynamic rate. That's the percentage that I pay at the dynamic. So I'm going to keep, any new listing I do is going to be in my new rate because obviously I maxed out the other one. And I think that I'm just going to, as time goes, I'm not going to repost into that original ad campaign. I'm going to keep posting into my new one, which is a cheaper rate for me. So that's how I'm doing it. I don't know what to tell you this is what you should set your rate at because that's a competitive edge. You have to decide how much money do you want to give up in order to put yourself higher in those listing pool or those listing ratings or whatever rankings.
I think it's going to be different for everybody depending on where they're at in their selling. Their like you said, their growth curve and things like that. I know when I first started using promotions, I had started at 8%. I just put everything at 8%. And I didn't feel like I got a big pop out of it. Then I went to dynamic, and I certainly noticed a difference when I went to dynamic. Oh, yeah. I have not yet capped my promotions off. I'm still in a growth mode. So I don't know that I want to cap it off too much. I need to look. Here's what I would say. Look at your promoted sales and understand what percent has been selling for you, and then make a decision from there.
Well, one of the things that influenced me was I noticed the percents were going up a fair amount since from when I started doing promotions. And I don't want to just keep losing money on it either, because there is a line there somewhere where you go, okay, well, this isn't worth selling it at this price and paying all this money to eBay to sell it, and then I don't get anything for it. So yeah, you have to decide where you have to draw your lines, I guess. But yeah, there's so many ways to do it. I know people who are like staunchly, no, I don't promote anything. And then, Charlie's right. You're not going to get a lot of sales, but your sales will have better margins.
Right.
I know some that do dynamic. That's Charlie and I ran dynamic forever, and it worked very well for us. I don't feel like I have to do that anymore. So why pay for something I don't need? You have to think of the promotions or the ad campaign, whatever you want to call it, as your marketing. That's your marketing budget for your items to compete with Charlie's items or my items or another seller's items. And you have to come up with a budget for that, just like you would with any business, that needs a marketing budget, and then see where that fits. You don't necessarily have to spend all the money in that budget, but you should at least have a budget so that you stay within your parameters of what you're trying to do. And if it costs you sales, then maybe you're doing something, you can change something in another area to gain that advantage. Buy bigger collections, or you're paying less per card, or increase your pricing, or something to combat what your marketing expenses would be.
Yeah.
So baseball card curmudgeon is here. What's up, fellas? This fine Wednesday. I would agree. It was a decent day out today. Got me some Arby's. I had my first burger ever from Arby's.
Really?
Yeah,
I saw they added that to their menu like last year or something, right?
Yeah, it was a good year ago at least, and I never got one. And so I was out with my wife works from home too. We were out running around doing a few things, and I'm like, well, okay, will you buy me lunch? And she said yes. So I was going to take full advantage of that. So anyway, where we happened to be, Arby's had was sort of convenient. So I said, you know what? I've never gotten a burger from Arby's because I love roast beef. I love their French dip. The gyros are really good. There's always other items that you can't get elsewhere. So when I go to Arby's, I want to order that. I can't get roast beef at Burger King or whatever. But yeah, I thought I'm gonna try one of the burgers, and you know what? It was okay.
Just okay.
It was okay. Yeah. It was good, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is one of the best burgers I've ever had. Not that you can like magically do something to a burger that hasn't already been done for the most part, but yeah, would I get it again? I don't know that I would, because I go to Arby's because I don't want a burger,
Yeah, I think there's the novelty of it that you got to try it. Stu, what do you think of it?
we forgot to scream some Stewarts at the beginning of the show tonight. We were preoccupied, I think.
Was my rock concert.
Yeah, that's right. The rock show. The ball card show says 95.8% had me sweating.
Yeah.
It's really not. It's not the end of the universe with those numbers. And I think some sellers have the perception of, oh, I need to have 100% on all these things and no blah blah blah. You need to get over that real quick if that's. And I'm not saying 95.8% is good. You definitely want to be higher than that. But you don't have to hit all those metrics at 100% in order to find success. Not even close. I don't have 100% in all those categories every month, and I get tons of sales. So 95.8 would still be fine. You'd still be in the uh, you know, top rated and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Charlie makes a good point. If they hadn't caught it, and it would have been day after day after day after day. Now, one of the things I think we have to keep in mind with something like that is it's not like you can't retro that. So just because you mailed it and the scanning isn't posting in eBay doesn't mean they can't get that scanning to show up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They can retro that, which clearly that's what they did. So as soon as they find out, it's just a link is broken to collect the information from the scan. So it's not like they weren't getting scanned, just wasn't showing up in eBay. But yeah, I kind of had a moment like that. I do understand where you're coming from to some degree. I had a little moment like that this past summer during the National. Not ideal,
I remember that.
I had all those trackings that didn't show up, and I was down to like 95, 96, something like that. And I'm like, I gotta get all these in here because if anything else gets missed, and that's one of the things that kind of made me change my entire shipping process, or mailing process, I guess is a better way to put it. I still do my shipping all the same, but I mail every day. I have a little blue box that I prefer that I drop them off at. I use the number 10 envelopes instead of the number 6s, especially for cards that matter. More than $1.99 cards, and that's been perfect. I haven't had any issues since. So no, but that was things that were happening just to me, not to like eBay wasn't posting the trackings. Well, not much you can do about that on your own in your own part in order to fix that. But I just want to empathize with you because I get it when you see a number like that drop and you're like, what is going to happen to me?
Well, and the other discussion that was going on was, we talk about the algorithm a lot, the mysterious algorithm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of discussion about, is this going to suppress my organic sales? And I don't think anybody has the definitive answer to that. eBay says no, it won't affect it. Here's what I'll tell you, though. Yesterday was my lowest sales day in a full month. Was it just coincidence? Maybe.
Yeah.
What was it because of that tracking drop for a couple of days? I don't know.
No.
I do know that I started my day today by promoting about 75 old listings, and now I have one of the highest sales days I've had in a month.
And that might have been why you had your lowest day yesterday, was you were just kind of down a bit on your promotions.
Yeah.
That could do it too, or didn't have enough new listings. I mean, there's a lot of things that you do on your own part that's going to affect that number, because those percentages and those defects, as they like to call them, I hate that word, so
yeah,
I don't want to call them that, but those are only going to affect you when you hit an evaluation period. They're not going to affect the algorithm as you go along. So like, oh no, somebody reported they didn't get their item. Now no one's going to buy from. That's not true at all. None of that works that way. In my experience, I haven't seen that. I always have some numbers in those categories, and I don't have trouble getting sales. And I'll have a day where, I'll have a month where everything's perfect and nothing has gone wrong, and boom, I have my worst sales day for the month. Well,
yeah,
nothing changed either. So as much as an algorithm comes into play, if you're selling Juan Gonzalez cards and nobody wants to buy a Juan Gonzalez card, you're not going to get a sale.
What?
If everybody comes and wants Juan Gon cards, regardless of the algorithm, you're going to get sales. Yeah, right. So I don't believe that that's going to cause your slowest sales day ever. Something like that. if you drop from top rated seller plus, that is a real concern. That should be something should be concerned about if that happens.
That would money out of your pocket.
Not just that, but that would definitely affect the algorithm, because they will never tell you how the algorithm works. They probably don't even really know themselves, but they do tell you if you're not top rated seller plus, that will not get you into the best listing, performance areas.
I think when it comes to the algorithm, the best way to think about it is eBay does this to make money. And if you are successful, the more successful you are at making eBay money, the better position you'll have in the algorithm.
If you're a top rated seller, regardless of, you missed one shipping here or one tracking there, the overall picture is that you're a good seller and you're selling stuff, because you remember there's other requirements on there. You have to sell a certain amount of items or a certain dollar amount or whatever to also fit in there. You have to have enough items listed, all that kind of stuff. So that is probably the top thing that fits into the algorithm, to just say like, okay, this guy's like a legit business selling guy. We want his stuff out there because we're not going to have problems with him. He's going to sell the item. He's going to ship it on time. It'll be the right thing. It's not going to be a fraud, blah, blah, blah. We verified his social security number. We can pay his bank account. Like, all those things are done. You've gotten yourself to that spot. Charlie's right. They want you to sell something. They don't get paid until you sell something. I have 60,000 listings out there that they only make $60 a month on unless I sell something.
Yep.
So, sometimes this stuff bothers me because I feel like eBay gets such a bad rap, just like I think the post office gets a bad rap in this. And I'm not trying to work against the people in our chats or in our Discords by any measure, but I'm trying to help them by saying, like, these two things are not against you. They need you like you need them. You have to work with them, So, anyway, enough about that, I guess. Moonslang, yo, Joe.
East Coast, yo.
East Coast, yo. What up, yo? I was teaching. I like to use new slang with my 10-year-old daughter because I think it's funny, like, like, no cap, fam, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, that's not how you say it. Only in Ohio, Dad. I get all that stuff. So sometimes I teach her some of our old slang. So I told her yesterday at the breakfast table, I said, what up, G? And she kind of looked at me funny, and I said, you know what that means? And she's like, well, I think what up means like what's up. And I'm like, okay, good. Yep, that's right. And she's like, and G means girl? And I'm like, nope. G stands for gangster. And she's like, well, I kind of like that one. Like, what up, G? So she's been kind of using that one a little bit. So nice. I'm so proud to give her some of our urban talk back in the day. And sometimes when I think about the word yo in itself, it makes me think a lot about Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Because Aaron, I can't remember his character's name, but that actor, the young guy, he used to say that all the time. Yo. So I don't know. Yo's kind of a lost word these days. It's not cool with the kids, and it's not really cool with adults.
Yeah.
And to that end, yo. Any thoughts on sorting wrestling cards for a show? Given all the wrestler nicknames, name changes, single word names. I'll let Charlie spew on this one. I don't really do wrestling, so.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
So first of all, if you don't have a ton of it, I wouldn't really spend much time sorting it, to be honest. But if you do have a ton of it, I think the first thing you want to do is sort by promotion. I would keep the WWE, TNA, WCW, AEW stuff all separated. Just because there's certain stars that are iconic to each one of those promotions. And I think they have different fan groups for the most part. Yeah, a lot of wrestling fans are global wrestling fans, but they have their favorites, right? Just like in the major sports, you have your favorite team and stuff like that. And then maybe sorting by male and female wrestlers. The market's really robust with the women wrestlers, or I should say more robust than the male wrestlers. So
no pun intended with the word bust.
Yeah. I guess there's a couple of schools of thought with this. If you really want someone to dig through your entire box, you don't want to sort them because you want them to hunt and peck for the ones they really want, and then they're maybe going to come across some other ones, right? But if you know you're like, hey, I got a hot captive market here, I want to move these, then you go to those sorts that I mentioned. That's probably what I would do.
Yeah, my two suggestions would have been what Charlie said, where you sort it by like league. To me, those are like leagues, whatever.
League? What are you talking about?
It's the same thing. Or by set. You could have 2022 WWE Prism, 2024 ECW Select, or, you know what I mean. So you could do it that way too if you wanted to find some likeness. Then it wouldn't matter what actor it was or what their name was at the time. If it would be sorted by that set. So that's kind of how I would do it, because I don't know, like, if this guy's name is now John, I didn't know that it was Bob before because I don't follow it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Speaking of wrestling cards, I recently picked up some Allure AEW, and I have to say, I'm really impressed with the artistry of the set. Look at these base cards. That is just a base card.
What is it?
It's AEW Allure. But look
kind of like the Marvel Allure set.
Yeah. So this is Jack Perry. Who knows the answer to everybody's trivia question about Jack Perry? He's got a famous Hollywood dad. Who is that?
Yeah.
Used to wrestle under the name Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Luke Perry?
Luke Perry is his father, yes.
Unfortunately.
Also famous for getting into a big backstage altercation with CM Punk that ran CM Punk out of AEW. Here's a Chris Statlander. Look at how beautiful those base cards are.
Well, you know what that is, right? That's what happens when Panini's not making something.
That could be. These are 2024s. Now
that's an Upper Deck, right?
Huh? Upper Deck, yeah.
Upper Deck, yeah.
Now compare that to another hot set, and I guess we'll start talking about what's selling here, because I'm selling the heck out of these AEW cards. Here's 2025 Topps WWE Chrome, and this is an Izzy Dame refractor, sepia refractor, sepia, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad card. It's beautiful. It's shiny. You got a little rainbow on the border, but compare that next to just these base cards from Upper Deck, and you're like, somebody cares a lot more about the artistry of their cards. Here's a Prism refractor Bret Hart. So we've kind of seen these a lot, these Prism refractors. Starts to feel a little bit older, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There's an old classic WrestleMania Hulkster. Cue the Breaking Glass, little Allen and Ginter, Stone Cold. But then again, go into these AEW cards. This is an insert called AE Dub. It just looks really cool. My lighting kind of sucks to show a card here. But Here's a crowd reaction insert and a J. Nice bright pop of color in the middle with the reflective chrome background. And here's the real hot sellers. These are amazing. This is called a glitter bomb parallel. This is Hook. It's Taz's son. So it's kind of like the glitter in the new Topps baseball series. It's a refractor, and then it has like all this confetti in the background and stuff. But they just look so, to me, they're just really beautiful cards.
Yeah, I like them too.
I have a great appreciation for what they did with them. I don't know what. Here's a red Pulsar Renee Paquette, former WWE announcer, married to John Moxley. That's a little more standard, but even that, look at the text. To me, that text stands up on the card.
Yeah, and you can actually read the damn names on the card. That's kind of refreshing.
Oh man, you're not kidding. Here's a referee card. Look at the play that referee card gets. I mean, that's just care in the design. You talk about the parallels. We've talked about this before. I love the way Upper Deck does this. So that's an orange slice parallel. How do I know that? Because they put it on the damn card.
Yeah, Upper Deck does it right.
How great is that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very... I hate listing parallels. I really do. Because I end up, for the most part, unless it's a card that's like going to be bigger money, I just make up what the parallel is. You know, if it looks like little, you know, specks, you know, on the card, I call it a disco, or I call it I don't really care, because I don't have time to look up every parallel ever that exists, and it really doesn't get you any more money, or any more sales. At least I haven't found that. So if I know what it is, great. But
I do look that stuff up.
I don't.
Every once in a while, a set comes around that is super frustrating, like 2025 Topps baseball, where I spent over a week trying to determine the difference between their rainbow foil and hollow foil. And it was finally yesterday I saw enough examples of both and the sand glitter side by side to clearly distinguish between them. The only difference in the sand glitter and the hollow foil is the sand glitter is like dots. The hollow foil is like a schmear. That's it. And if you don't see them side by side, I don't know how you would ever know.
I sold all mine already, and I didn't look back. I didn't look any of them up. I don't care.
Yeah, and I found I had sand glitters listed that were not sand glitters. They were hollow foil.
Yeah. I took good pictures of them. I listed them. I just want stuff sold. So as long as you're, you know, not too far off the mark on what you're listing, but you know, if it's an emerald parallel or a green parallel, or it's all the same.
So I just filled another SKU bag. I do it a little bit different than Adam. I make a little tab on the top that sticks out, so I can grab them and pull them right out of the drawer there. But back to these AEWs, I just picked them up the other day and listed yesterday for the first time, and they are selling fast for me. I just sold another one while we were on the air. These glitter bombs are going for double digits. So it's hot right now. And I thought
how rare are those glitter bombs? How many do you get in a box?
There's some in every blaster.
Every single one. Like how many is some?
I want to say 2 in every blaster.
Okay.
So I don't think it's going to last that long, but I thought these were out for a while already. So I did not expect them to be this hot yet.
Maybe just nobody's selling them. Maybe the only people who are buying them are...
There's not a lot listed out there. That is true. That is true.
Like I'll go buy like wacky packages. Nobody buys that stuff to resell it. And I sell a ton of them. I'll list a handful of them and I'll sell them all within a week. So yeah, you have to find your little niche. That's like your little niche, is those wrestling products. That they're not going to be that good for me.
Probably, yeah, because you don't put a
You
lot in
know,
your store.
no, and I have my other little niche products. I have a few different um, soccer things that I do. I have some gaming cards that I do that not a lot of other places do. Yeah, you got to find your like little extra things that separates you from somebody else for sure. No, I'll sell
Yeah.
wrestling. I'll buy wrestling and I'll sell it. I sold a silver prism somebody today. I think it was Stone Cold. I think. Um, there was a whole bunch of like select prism and silver prisms and stuff in a box in Madison. And I had Ethan go through them, and he's like, "Yeah, buy this one, buy this one, buy this one, buy this one." And I bought them all, and I listed them all, and that stuff's selling. So
You got to get the right names, but they go. But yeah, here's the one I just sold during the show. I accepted an offer of $5 for that. Even some older Braun Breaker stuff came back around when people are looking in the store, right? Because they see this new stuff. There's one of the glitter bombs. I think I took 13 for this one. Another one here. I think I took 8 for that one. This is an orange slice Bill, Big Bill, which you might remember him from WWE days. He was Big Cass. So yeah, they're going really well. Considering I haven't even had them listed for 24 hours yet.
yeah, and you're right. That might not last forever. Still a newish product, but yeah, get in while you can, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it wouldn't be something that would pop on my radar to buy if I saw them in a store. What'd you pay for the blaster?
I think they're 29. 29, yeah.
Okay.
So, and I just bought them on a fluke. It wasn't actually what I was looking for, but I was there and I saw them and I was like, well, I'm getting a bunch of WWE blasters. I suppose, if I get wrestling traffic coming in the store for the new top stuff, get a little bit of AEW as well. And the AEW is by far outselling the WWE stuff right now.
And there's probably not that many cards of those AEW wrestlers, so that's part of it too.
Yeah.
Maybe some of those guys haven't had cards in a set before.
Yep.
Or not many anyway. So the fans of them are like, "Oh my God, there's a new card and it's got this sandy glitter thing." And you're right, they look nice.
Yeah.
Eye appeal still matters. It's still pieces of art we're trying to sell. So
yeah.
That's definitely something you want to consider when you're buying stuff.
Yep, for sure.
So,
and then, like I said, I sold one to somebody in France today. I was like, you really got to come to the States to find this?
Right. Yeah, I had the card I just sold international too. I can't remember where it went, but getting more of that, and it's more of sending directly to the address, where I'm actually charging the $16 for shipping or whatever versus they're paying it to eBay and then I just pay the ESE to eBay.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Is that what you're getting to? Where it's like you have to buy the... So I had one today where it was a free shipping item, but they paid $21 and some odd cents shipping. And then I had to print out a $16 label.
So does that get done behind the scenes without your involvement until you print the label, or do you have to work something out with them on that?
No, they paid the $21. It charges them when they check out. So let's say the card was $5. I got...
Oh, they just didn't participate in the international shipping
eBay
program,
Global, yeah. Right? The eBay Global.
I went to Illinois for the right. Forwarding. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just asking because I've been seeing that more than I ever have before, and I don't know if it's. I mean, the U.S. has stuff going on, so maybe that's part of it too.
I don't know if I ever had that.
Yeah, you will, trust me. Anything that can happen will eventually happen if you're doing it long enough. But yeah, So yeah, I had one. It was nice because they, I offered free shipping, but they paid $21 shipping, and it only cost me 16 for the label. So I'm like, well, made $5 on the shipping. All right,
Yeah.
cool. And what I like about that is because of the label, that I had to print, I was able to put it in a bubble mailer, which I feel better about when it's going international than
Yeah.
an envelope. So I was like, okay, everybody, he did pay the extra $5 to me that I'm keeping on the shipping. I'm like, I'm going to put it in a nice baggie and in a bubble envelope, keep it from getting wet and all that kind of stuff. So it was good. I was happy about it. All right. Why are goats excited about hump day? Well, I mean, goats are people too, okay? Coming from a Lions fan, of course. Dan says if I knew you liked Big Boy, I would have taken you to the one that is still open in Cleveland.
There we
Well,
go.
see, you didn't even mention Big Boy. How could you forget that? I liked the place we went to. I had a good time there. They had decent food. Wasn't too far out of the way. It was that STP gas station one or oil station one that we went to. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. What?
Or we opened the box of Big League.
What was it called?
Wasn't it the STP?
I think so.
But it meant
so.
it was STP, which is like the oil, company, the car oil. But then it stood for something else, I think. I don't know. We'll have Dan jump in. Obviously, he knows what it is. Boomslang put his first coupon out and has made several sales. Yeah, so coupons will definitely help. And he's up to 3,300 listings and over 7,000 cards total with bulk. Nice. You're climbing quick. Dan says just looked on Wildcard and says watch for the next sale soon. I have only one purchase for 2025 and I am slacking. You are.
Yeah, like how are they going to stay in business with you only getting that much?
I don't know, man. You guys missed Haunted Hits. And that was their best set they ever put out, in my opinion. Those cards were amazing.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of good things about that, but I've never actually. I don't think I've seen any of the actual cards. If you can believe that.
Yeah, I mean, I posted some. They have a couple of boxes still at Green Bay Cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they're at like $90 or $95, so they're up a bit, but you can pick one up. But there's really nice autos and variation photos and all kinds of stuff in there. There's Big Boy.
Yeah, I had to get it in there. It took me a little while, but I had to get it in there.
I like it.
Maybe we'll get some affiliate links for them.
Yeah, I doubt it. I don't think Big Boy's in a position to be paying anybody anything. Do you know what Ed DeBevick's is?
What?
Ed DeBevick's?
No.
So it was my favorite restaurant in Chicago. I believe it's been closed for a while now, but it's an insult restaurant. Do you know what an insult restaurant is?
I've heard of that concept. Yeah.
Oh, we always had so much fun there. Yeah, and the waiters and waitresses, they'd put like something on the jukebox and they'd all just stop serving and then like dance on the bar and stuff.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, it was so much fun. Yeah, they insult you while they're serving you. What comes on your cheeseburger? Cheese, you dumbass. Stuff like that. It's. I shouldn't say they don't swear or anything, but it's all in good fun. All right, Darren says, awesome. Thank you. Really helps. I am just starting with my store. I watch all your videos, and you're a huge help to me in my store. Oh, awesome. I'm glad I could be a help. Let me know if you have any other questions. Join our Discord if you're not in it yet. The link's passing by here eventually to the Discord. Join on there because we have a lot of different topics that we discuss regularly. My Patreon link is on there on the bottom too. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe on there as well. always get the chicken sandwiches at Arby's. I agree. That is like 9 times out of 10 what I get there. I do like their chicken. Um, the French dip is like my one extra hook because you can't get a French dip anywhere. Not fast food, especially. And their au jus sauce is pretty good.
I mean, there's only two things I ever really get at Arby's, and that is the classic roast beef and cheese, or the what do you call them? The sauerkraut and brisket and not brisket, yeah, brisket. What the hell do you call those sandwiches on rye bread? Come on.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name of it either.
Yeah, what the heck? I just had them for dinner.
Is it a Reuben?
Reuben,
yeah.
We just had them like a week ago at home, and you'd think I could remember that.
You'd think. You're getting old though, so.
True.
Cheese sticks at Arby's are good. Yeah, I know I live in Wisconsin, so this is gonna sound blasphemous, but I don't like fried cheese. It's just too much. Like, cheese is enough as it is, and I'm not a big cheese guy. I don't really care about it, so. Yeah.
I'm not much of a fry guy, but I do like their curly fries.
I do like curly fries. I love fries, but not. Yeah. I like a stick in batter and then fry. A stick of cheese in batter and then fried doesn't. That's over the top. What you mean? The 5,000 won gone cards I just bought was not a good buy. It's an amazing buy if you got them for a good price.
How many Juan Gonzalez cards do you have listed right now? We should both check.
Me? Okay, yeah. I can check.
Yeah. You can't do it on your phone though, right?
Huh?
You can't do it on your phone though, right?
Well, I can check in my laptop. While we're doing this, I've got a baseball trivia for tonight. Should I tell them my baseball trivia?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and I want to give you a hint here off the bat. What retired Major League Baseball player in his first at bat in Single A hit a home run, in his first at bat in Double A hit a home run, in his first at bat in Triple A hit a home run, and his first at bat in the Major League Baseball League hit a home run? What player was that? And he is retired. I want to point that out because I know I'm going to get Acuna, and it's none of those guys. The retired player. Okay. What am I looking up?
How many Juan Gonzalez? How many Juan Gonzalez cards do you have listed?
All right, let's see here. It's thinking. I have a lot of inventory for it to pull through. I have 72 cards.
You have 72 Juan Gonzalez cards listed?
72 unique cards. I have quantity on a few of them.
Wow. I have 6. I have 6 Juan Gon cards listed.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're, veteran, amateur. Now
the question is, how many Juan Gon cards have you sold in the last year?
Oh, in the last year? Let's see. Probably not that many. He's not one of my biggest sellers or anything. Sells okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I've sold any.
I've definitely sold some. Let me see. I'll filter.
Okay, last year. Yeah, I have 0 Juan Gonzalez sales.
Let me take a look here. Juan Gon. I got to do it by orders.
Yeah, that's how I did it too.
Leading shipment. Let's just go archive.
Can't be much.
Gonzalez. Let's see. 22 cards.
22. 22 to 72. So that's 1 out of every 3 listings, something like that.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Let me try a different category to make sure I didn't miss something. Yeah, 22.
But it's a
So,
better
I mean,
ratio than I have. I don't know that I'll stock up on much more Juan Gonzalez until I get one.
okay. That's another thing I'm going to talk about this real quick before we get back to the chat. To me, sometimes that's the wrong approach because I feel like if you have one card of a player listed, it's hard to get the multi-sales. So if you're going to list a player at all, you want to list more than one card for sure.
It's Juan Gonzalez.
But I had a guy yesterday buy like 12 different Ivan Rodriguez cards.
What? Because Ivan Rodriguez is much more of a historical player than Juan Gonzalez.
I don't think so. I think they're pretty similar.
Baseball. No, with
I
soccer, you would know.
I do too. That was my era. I'll have Chipper's not a huge seller for me, but then I'll have somebody come in and buy 10 Chipper cards. Well, if I only had one Chipper card listed, then I'd only have one sale. Like your sales should, if you're offering coupons and bulk discounts and things like that, you want to have some quantity if you're going to carry a player.
Yeah,
that's my personal, because it's pretty rare I sell like one Mike Piazza card, but I'll have somebody buy like 5 Mike Piazza cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was my point. Okay.
Juan Vaughn isn't even in the Hall of Fame, right?
I don't think there'd be any way he could get in because of the steroids.
Yeah.
He was steroids.
But
same with
everybody
Rafael
else you
Palmeiro.
mentioned is in the Hall.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But I think Juan was good enough to be. I just, with the drugs and stuff, no.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not in, but neither is Rafael Palmeiro or Jose Canseco or Sammy Sosa or Barry Bonds, for Christ's sake. I mean, you can't say that Chipper Jones is better than Barry Bonds because he's in the Hall of Fame. Like, I don't know. That's a fair argument.
Yeah, it's tough to make those comparisons sometimes.
Or Chipper Jones is better than Pete Rose.
Yeah, I don't know how would you prove it, right?
Well, I mean, if you're simply going by stats, I think it'd be pretty easy to prove that Pete Rose was, better than most of the players in the Hall of Fame. So at least for hits, for sure.
Yeah, that's what's so great about sports is debating the greatest of all time, right?
Sure.
So now we got to get in Jordan and Kobe and LeBron.
Especially when they're players from different eras, when they didn't play against each other. And then you've got the dead ball era, the juiced bats era, you've got the juiced players era, you've got, there's all these different things that, add to it. Okay, let's get back to chat skis. Keith is here. What's up, fellas? I also had a couple of slow days come back strong today with a couple of bigger sales plus a few low end. And I had a good sales day yesterday. So it just happens sometimes, And I had an even better one today. So it's not like I'm on the, the fat cat train here either. Yeah, and when you have a slow day and it's a Tuesday, it's kind of par for the course. Like there's going to be days that aren't as good. I mean, my Saturdays and Sundays are generally better than every other day in the week. Fridays I find are kind of hit and miss. This time of year they're definitely better, but like sometimes in the summer I feel like they're not as strong. But I think that's because people they get out of town and it's just different with Fridays in the summer than it is during the crappy part of the year. N.A. Kelly is here. He says, good evening. Good evening to you. Just getting into wrestling cards. Allure is getting overlooked with the Topps Chrome hype, which makes sense. Quaker Steak. Yeah. Quaker Steak and Lube. That's what it was.
Steak and Lube.
I knew it was a oil place. I had STP, but it was Quaker Steak, so that's funny.
You didn't you didn't go back to your trivia question yet, too. Don't forget.
No, I haven't. I'm waiting to get into the chat where people have answers. Ruben, yep, we figured it out. We figured out what
that is it.
I agree with Loafy Joe. A chicken sandwich is really good. I always did the beef and cheddar previously until I was introduced to their chicken. I agree. That's probably the place I would go to first to get chicken. Other than Popeyes. Popeyes is amazing. Average Dave's guessed it right off the bat. Will Clark. Yes. Hopefully he didn't cheat and Google it, but yes, Will Clark had a home run in every single one of his first at-bats on his ladder climb path to Major League Baseball, and including his first at-bat with the Giants in Major League Baseball. I love those kind of stats. That's what I love about baseball, is it's all about numbers.
I don't know if I believe that stat. That's an impressive number if that's true.
Well,
I don't know if anybody ever really did that.
Look it up, Charlie. There's numbers to match it.
Yeah, look it up, and I think we might find that there's a gap someplace. There's gotta be. It's gotta be.
No.
He did hit a lot of homers, though. Like sneaky amount of homers.
There is a YouTube video showing every one of those home runs also, by the way. So if you're a conspiracy theorist, and needs video proof, that's out there as well.
Must be true. It's on YouTube.
Let's see. Oh. Let's see. I think his first home run was also off of Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, I think I did hear that.
How about that?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Which I would brag the heck out of that if I was him. So he was a rookie in '86, huh?
Yep, 86.
Hit 11 home runs that year.
Yeah, well, he came in, late in the season.
Yeah. 11 and then jumped to 35 in year 2. So
yeah,
he really was a thrill.
Well, I liked having a Will Clark stat too, because we were surprised back in the day that on your liquidity list of what a good seller he was.
Yeah.
And I was always passing on Will Clark stuff, because I just didn't think the sell-through rate would be worth, the buy, but
he's got some diehard collectors.
Yeah. I'm trying to find.
I'm gonna be searching all week to see if he actually did that, to see if anybody really did that, because that's to do it once is impressive. To hit.
I'm trying to remember where I found the stats. I can't remember if it was the Baseball Almanac, maybe.
Yeah. To do it twice would be amazing. But if you went through like 3 levels of the minors and then got to the majors and you did it every time, just statistically, that seems impossible.
It's not impossible. It's a home run. It's not that hard to do. When he was in single A, he was probably very dominant. I would think the one that would be hard to get would be your first major league appearance versus Nolan Ryan, and we know for a fact he got that one.
Right.
The other ones are, who cares? Yeah, I don't remember where I saw it, but it was a stat thing from.
I've heard that before too. Like, you're not,
Yeah. Well, no, it's definitely true because I got it from a reliable source, but I can't remember if it was Baseball Almanac or where it was. It gets even wilder. Okay, so he hit his first home run in Major League off of Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
Then his first at bat at Candlestick Park. A couple days later, he also hit a home run. So his first at bat in his home park, he hit a home run too.
Yep, I did hear that as well. See, that I could see hitting a couple in a short burst like that, because hitting homers is usually a streaky thing. So I could see doing that a couple times easier than like 4 first time at bat homers.
Let's see.
Baseball Reference says similar batters are Adrian Gonzalez, Matt Holliday, Freddie Freeman, and Paul Goldschmidt. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm going to spend a week researching Will Clark.
Yeah, I'm not finding the one where it was all the different at-bats, but...
Yeah. Someone will find it on the interweb.
Well, I definitely, I wouldn't have come up with it, mentioned it if it wasn't a thing. Here's the stats.
Will the Thrill.
Yeah, Will the Thrill. He was one of my favorites when I was a kid, so I liked that.
284 career home runs in the bigs.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
More than I got.
Yeah, April 8th, 1986 went 1 for 4 with a home run, solo home run, and a strikeout.
Yep.
Wonder if MILB would have his stats.
I would think so.
Yeah, I don't know if they keep them as meticulously as major leagues, but let's see. Now I feel like we started a quest.
All right.
So I always heard that he and Rafael Palmeiro hated each other.
Seems odd. It's just baseball players. I don't know what you would hate each other over.
Yeah, what is there to hate, right?
All right.
So here we go. Let's go. I want regular season. I don't want Major League Baseball.
Here it is. I think I found it.
Did you?
Hold on. I gotta wait for the damn thing. Will Clark, Baseball History Nut, is where I got it from.
Okay.
He homered in his first at-bat of A-ball, double-A ball, triple-A ball, and the majors. And his first major league home run was off of Nolan Ryan.
Okay.
So unless their information is incorrect, I don't know. I guess I didn't really vet it out that far. It was just a fun trivia question.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why you'd make something like that up, but I guess it could be.
Well, we do know he definitely homered in his first Major League Baseball at bat.
And he homered in his first Major League at bat in his home park a couple days later.
Yeah. Yep. Interesting. Yeah, I think the Nolan Ryan piece is a big trivia question too. Who did he hit his first off of?
Sure, because it's Nolan Ryan.
Well, I think we got duly educated on Will Clark tonight.
Yeah, and maybe it might not be all of those are correct either. I don't know. I didn't vet it out. I just thought it was a fun stat if it's true.
Yeah, if it's not, it's got legs though, because like I said, I've heard that before too.
Yeah, and even so, his first home run was off Nolan Ryan, and then 2 days later, he had his first home run at his first at bat at his park. So even just the two major league stats are pretty significant.
Pretty impressive, yeah.
Anyway, all right. Someone guessed Kevin Moss. That is definitely not true. How do you look that up? Bartolo Colon. That would have been amazing.
Definitely not Bartolo Colon.
No doubt about it. It's probably Derek Jeter since it's coming from Adam.
That's a good guess.
I wish. Derek Jeter was not exactly known as, a big home run hitter, but
right.
Pudge is greater than Juan Gone times 10 over. I would agree with that still. We reviewed Juan's stats at Bo's program last week. Not Hall of Fame worthy. Don't think Royds is keeping him out. Rose is definitely better than Chipper, though. Kobe is not in the conversation.
Not even top 10, did he say? Wow.
Yeah. No cheating. Good friend is a huge Clark fan, and he comes to Eugene to help coach the minor league team. Well, there you go. So there's somebody who knows a lot about Will the Thrill and guessed it. First homer was off of Nolan Ryan, he added. Yep, we definitely know that now. Joey Votto only popped out to a first baseman one time in 8,131 plate appearances. That's crazy.
That's crazy that would be kept track of.
Will Clark is currently number one trending in the U.S. thanks to us. Right. That was a big search boost for him, yeah. Votto had 6,764 plate appearances before popping out to a pitcher. That's crazy. Definitely not top 10, maybe top 15. I'm not sure who he's referring to.
Kobe.
Oh, yeah. I would definitely rank him higher than that, but I don't know. I was a big Kobe fan. I'm still a big Kobe fan. I enjoyed watching him play. He's got his pros and cons, just like pretty much anybody in sports, but I would not say he was the best. Jordan wouldn't be number one for me, for sure.
I think that's fair.
But I grew up in the 90s watching Jordan, and him getting 50-point games and winning 6, he had a break in there, but watching basically win 6 championships in a row was kind of crazy. Run of 3, and then he took 2 years off for baseball, and then another run of 3. That's pretty unmatched. But it's also a team game. You have to look at. He had a great team. They had a great team and a great coach and a great program, and so it's hard to give all of that credit just to one player or two. But yeah, if you said, hey, you get to pick the all-time basketball team, what's your number one pick? It would be Jordan. So how could I not feel like that's the greatest player of all time if that's who I would pick first on my team? So that's kind of how I view that one. But the game is different, though, too. It's a lot different then than it was now.
Yeah.
In many ways, it was harder. There was actually defense being played back then. But there were guys that I don't think could have really challenged Michael Jordan as opposed to some of the players now that I think could have challenged him a bit more. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I think Dennis Rodman was way underrated. I think he had a huge importance on that team because Jordan got so many opportunities because everything was rebounded.
Well, I mean, that's the curse of great defensive players, right? You're always overshadowed.
Yeah. So, I shot all the way back up to the top. Oops.
How'd you do that?
I don't know, but I did. LeBron hands down 2 times the career. LeBron number 1. Yeah, he wouldn't be my number 1 guy, but I understand the argument. But for me, like I said, if I was to pick, like somebody said, who's your first pick on your team, it would be Jordan. So to me, that means Jordan is greatest of all time that I watched anyway. I mean, there's arguments that Wilt Chamberlain could be number 1 or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, there's other players that just weren't in our time frame, so we don't consider them. But maybe they were. If all things were equal and they were all playing at the same time, maybe one of those players would have been better. I don't know.
Right.
And yeah, it also depends on by what measurement. Is it championships, points, awards, MVPs? I don't know.
So yeah, I would have a hard time selling an argument of LeBron over Jordan. Jordan, I just see those two going at it, and LeBron would make Jordan even better.
Yeah, I think LeBron has. I think the longevity of LeBron is amazing in that sport with that size and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that enough to make him the better player? I don't think so. Versus he's also missed several games. He's also lost, finals series. He's also not won 6 of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it's a team game. If this was tennis,
yeah,
you could be like, okay, well, Jordan did this, this, and this, because the game hasn't really changed. Yeah, and it's a single player game. So whatever you do is you're the only one who can really impact that outcome. But it's not. There's other factors that I don't think anyone can argue that the game of basketball today is way different than when Jordan played.
Yeah, it's true.
And when Jordan was playing, it was different than when Wilt Chamberlain was playing. That's one of those games that's really, really super evolved over time. So to try to compare different eras is really tough.
Yeah.
All right. What else did we have for top? Oh, we wanted to talk about what's selling well. You kind of touched on it with ECW and WWE stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, Topps baseball. Being one of the newer products. Trying to think what I've been selling a lot of. I've been selling a lot of rap cards.
Yo MTV raps?
A lot of Yo MTV raps. The rap pack. Do you remember Rap Pack? I picked up a bunch of those at the National.
No.
It was a rap set. There's like Salt and Peppers in it, and a bunch of those.
Okay.
Rap artists, Bismarcky and stuff. That stuff has been doing really well for me lately. Junior Seau. We kind of talked about that in Discord. Somebody had brought it up. Like, I sold this Junior Seau rookie, and then I just sold another one. And I'm like, I just sold 2 of those in the last week. And then he just posted a little bit before the show started and said, I sold another Junior Seau rookie card. So it's kind of weird how, you run into these little bits of trends. And I had a stack of Marvin Harrison Topps Finest rookie cards. The original Marvin Harrison, not the new Marvin Harrison. So like 1996 Topps Finest. I think I had like 6 or 8 of them. And he's not a big seller, but they're Topps Finest. I love the brand, good design. He was a great player. And like pop, 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 pop. I think I've sold all of them now within the last week. Like, why is everybody buying Marvin Harrison right now?
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting, how the trends go. Sometimes I'll have like a bunch of single card orders that aren't really related. So like I'll sell a LeBron base card and then a Nolan Ryan Express. Remember that big set from Pacific of all the different Nolan Ryan cards?
Flames on it and stuff.
And then I'll sell a Junior Seau card, and then I'll sell a Brett Favre card. And then after all those single card sales, the next day I'll have somebody buy 5 cards, and it's all 5 of those cards. Like, they don't even make sense to go together. So I don't know if people are just looking at anymore. So I don't know if everybody's just like scraping, well, what's recent sales? Well, these are all cards that sold recently by this seller, and then okay, I'll take one of each of those. I just happen to have doubles of every one of those, where they could come back and order another copy. Or order a copy after someone else. So sales trends are sometimes really, really hard to follow on eBay. But we try, right? We try. You got to keep making those attempts so that you can try to corner that
tails out of it, right?
Yeah, try to corner that algorithm. Try to post the card that's going to sell right away for the most money, and then there's just a lot of. I talked about this a while ago. I don't know if on this show, but it was to somebody. About being when I was a stockbroker. Okay, so I was a stockbroker in 1999, 2000, whatever that was, and that was before everybody could just go trade online, right? So the reason you saw like just a kind of a gradual trend of stocks going up, not a lot of volatility, was because all the buys and sells were controlled by people who had education in stocks, right, and performances and looking at dividends and things like that. Well, you saw a ton of volatility after that. Like the stock market dropped in half and then it doubled and then dropped in, it was, and we're like, what's all this volatility? Because it wasn't controlled by any sort of standard means anymore. If Charlie is drunk at 2 a.m. and owns a bunch of Disney and saw The Little Mermaid and didn't like it and decides to sell all his shares, I can't stop him from doing that. He can log into his, Merrill Lynch account and hit sell, and that's it. It's done. He doesn't have to call me in the morning where I can go, Charlie, that was 2 a.m. and you were drunk and you just don't like The Little Mermaid. Do you still think Disney is not a good? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that we would try to talk people out of buying or into buying or talk them out of selling, but just add rationale before. And you couldn't pull the trigger. You couldn't make the transaction. I would have to make the transaction. So I would, as your advisor, I would want to have that conversation with you before I would pull that plug. And everybody can just do it on their own. And that was one of the things I didn't like about the markets anymore, because there's just too many variables.
Right.
There's too many reasons for somebody to get in and too many reasons for somebody to get out. And it's very dangerous when you're holding on to something that someone else controls the value of it. And that's true for just about everything and how this relates.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
And that's kind of where I wanted to bring it back to cards. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know who's going to break a leg. You don't know who's going to have a scandal. And a scandal doesn't mean the price is going to go down necessarily either. Could shoot up because of it. A death, a new milestone in the sport, whatever. the case may be, something out there. There's just a lot of things you can't control. You just have to try to follow some of those, standard business practices and hope you get a little bit of luck along the way with that and, can get some of the results that you're looking for. Yeah, those junior, like those Marvin Harrison rookies, I probably had them in there for like 6 months. Didn't sell a single one, and now they're all gone in like 3 days.
Yeah, it's so
crazy.
unpredictable sometimes, right?
Huge.
I gotta take a couple extra pictures here for a prospective buyer, so don't mind me.
Ah, okay. You want me to keep talking?
You get that a lot too? Like, I only list the actual card in my listings, but then they'll be like, can you send me a couple pics of the front and back of the card? Sure, but you're looking at it on the listing.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I don't generally do that unless it's like something significant. Like if it's a $30 card or something, sure, I'll take a couple of photos.
Yeah.
Or if there is something wrong with it or whatever. I put on there, dimple on the front. And they're like, can you show me a better picture of the dimple? Then I'll do it. But yeah, you have to be careful of that because what's going to happen as soon as they get it, they're going to scour that thing with a fine tooth comb. And then as soon as there's one little, pit on one part of the card, they're sending it back. So
yeah. Well, I don't mind if they send it back. I'll just sell it again.
Well, yeah, but you don't want to keep doing that either.
No, I've never actually had to. Never.
No. I get the returns I get. It's usually I didn't want it anymore or something like that. That's but it's very rare. I think I had like 5 returns all of last year, which considering my volume is pretty slim.
I get the occasional, oops, I found out I already have this card. I thought I needed it, but I didn't.
Or my kid bid on this or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw something like that the other day. My kid got my phone and ordered it.
Yeah. But I don't, I'm like, I kind of agree with you. I don't really argue with them. I'm like, all right, you can send it back.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll resell it. I don't care. To me, it's such a small percentage of what I'm doing that it really doesn't pay to try to fight it. Just take the card back. Now, hopefully, they send you the same card back.
Yeah, I did have that happen one time. Well, no, they didn't send it back. Well, maybe it was, but it was early on. But I remember I was really bitter about it because it was so early on and I hadn't experienced a whole lot of these things yet. But I sent something out to somebody and the card was in pristine shape. And then I think I remember telling you about this. And then they returned it and there was a big gash or something in it. And I'm like, they just upgraded their collection on me.
The one I remember from you is the guy who's like, "This. You said this was a refractor, and it's not a refractor, but then it's like it was totally a refractor in the picture."
Yeah, that was more recent. Yeah,
and I'm like, "What are you talking about? That's clearly I can tell it's a refractor, and I'm not holding the card."
Yeah,
like that one's pretty weird, but yeah, there's quirky people, that are in on this stuff too.
For sure.
You get those few that are just really neurotic about it too, and it's like I've had somebody order a card on a Sunday, and then they message me Sunday night, and they're like, "Why didn't you ship this yet?" I'm like, "It's Sunday. Like I can't."
Yeah.
It'll go out in the morning, even if I put a sticker label on it, it's not going anywhere, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, do you really want it to sit in a postal mailbox overnight? Like, is that going to make you happier? I don't know.
Yep.
It's strange.
I got one of those today, a Tiffany Stratton card purchased this afternoon. And then shortly after I get a message saying, "Can you ship this right away?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
don't know about
handling. It's going to go pretty quick. So.
And that's where one day handling actually resolves almost all of that.
Yeah.
Because when you send it in a day, they don't even really have time to come back and be like, are you going to ship this? You start getting to that like third day, some people start getting antsy. Even if it is only a $2 or $3 card, you'll get that once in a while. Yeah, Dan says sounds like a grader when he asks for more picks. Yep.
I don't know. I get it every once in a while, and I haven't had a problem with it so far. Like I see the stories of people like that's a surefire, someone saying there's going to be some little thing wrong with it when they get it, and it's not the one that was in the picture. I haven't had that happen. It probably will at some point.
Yeah, I don't really get that either. I did have somebody who bought like a stack of score base Brady's or something. He bought like 60 of them.
Yeah.
And then he returned like 12 of them. And I'm like, well, clearly these, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, send them back. Is $3 cards or $4 cards, whatever they were. But yeah, it's funny. So he literally just took the stack of them, picked out all the best ones, and then sent the rest back. And I'm like, I guess it's a way to play it.
Yeah.
I had within my first 2 weeks, a person wanted to cancel an order because they found one cheaper. Yeah, I get that once in a while.
Buyer's remorse.
Just refund it.
Yeah.
Move on. Relist it. I sold a graded auto and the person returned me all base cards. Oh, that's a bummer.
But that you should be able to easily take to eBay and say like, hey, look.
It's just so hard to prove. Like it's hard to prove what they sent you back because they even video evidence. They're like, well, how do I know the guy sent those? You could have put them in a different envelope with the label. So you can even take a video of yourself opening this return package from this customer, and they're still going to side with the customer.
It's true. All eBay knows is, well, the return label was printed and used, so he must have returned it.
Right. Yeah. So, luckily there aren't that many scammers on eBay. Eventually they get figured out because they get blocked by everybody. And another reason to join our Discord, we share our blocks.
Yeah.
Could help somebody from potentially running into the same issue as another seller has. Try to avoid that as much as possible. Max says we need buyer feedback. Yeah, there's been a lot of call for that. I think that's a good idea just because as sellers we're just caught off guard. We don't know anything about these buyers.
Right.
So other than, if you look at their feedback and they have some, because of course it's going to be positive because you can't leave them a negative.
Yeah.
But at least if they have a decent number, hopefully that means that they're doing okay things on eBay. But yeah, you don't really know because there's no feedback. No
I would say it really doesn't mean anything because of people like me that automate feedback.
Yeah, from the seller. Yeah, and that's why I automate it because there's no point. I can't leave them negative anyway. So I might as well just give them positive right away and move on.
As soon as they pay, positive feedback goes out. So
yeah. Yeah, I had a comment from a buyer this past week in my feedback that said, I just ordered this card and the seller already asked for feedback. And I'm like, I didn't ask for anything. So I don't know. I don't know if it's because the auto feedback, does that ask them to send feedback in return? I don't know, but I don't send anything. So I'm like, I don't know where you got that from, buddy, because I didn't ask for your feedback.
Yeah, I don't think it does. I don't know where they got that from.
Who knows? Feedback doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah. I actually bought my first lot of cards off of eBay in quite some time the other night. I don't even know why. I felt like it had been enough time that like I need to look and see if there's anything good on eBay, and I bought a lot of like 200 Star Wars cards.
That's where I buy most of my non-sport because you just don't see enough at shows. So
yeah,
I have kind of my stuff set up now, like what I want to sell. So what I mean by that is like your Star Wars example. Okay, I always want to have Star Wars vintage. Okay, well, when I sell a bunch of them and it starts getting down, I'm like, yeah, I better buy another lot of these.
Yeah.
Because I didn't trip on any, at a show or from a local dealer or whatever. I can go, okay, well, now I got to go to eBay and make sure I get a stack of vintage Star Wars. So that's kind of how I've done that. You can still get decent prices on that stuff versus some of the sport stuff. And sometimes I'll just I'll just type in non-sport card lot, and I keep it that simple. And I'll just go to new listings and I'll be like, oh, look at these Buffy cards. These are cool. I haven't seen these before. Oh, look at these Lord of the Rings cards or these Game of Thrones cards. It seems like a pretty good deal. Or somebody selling like a bunch of sets, right? So you get a bunch of Inkwork sets, from like the mid to late 2010s. Those are great sets that weren't heavily produced, great properties. People our age, remember those, still remember those shows and like them.
Yeah.
I got a big stack of Dexter cards when we were at the National. And I finally got around to listing them in my non-sport store, and I sold a whole ton of them already, probably half of them already. So you're like, Dexter cards? Well, he's got a new show out, by the way.
Yeah.
Young Dexter is out, and so he's kind of on the tops of minds at this point. And yeah, so I don't know. Would I find Dexter cards at like a Green Bay card show? Probably not. So that would have been something where I'd been like, just searching non-sport cards online and be like, oh, there's a lot of Dexter cards. I'd try those, because that's kind of my experimentation area is different non-sport sets. Like, dude, Flaming Carrot cards, those are money, but I wouldn't have looked up Flaming Carrot cards. So Saved by the Bell cards do really well. The Sonic stuff. Sonic's got a new movie out. So like that's kind of how I do it too. So I do still like buying lots once in a while on eBay for that stuff because you can actually search it out without having to leave your couch, as a matter of fact, I'm getting kind of low on Pac-Man, so that was going to be my search this week was to try to get another stack of Pac-Man cards. But yeah. All right. I don't think we got
Dexter. I was thinking of Dexter's Laboratory.
Well, I would buy those too.
Right?
I like Nicktoon stuff. I like, anything really. I mean, if the cards are cool and the price is pretty decent, I'll buy a stack of them and sit on them. I don't care.
Yeah.
All that stuff sells. Star Trek stuff, Beavis and Butthead, like, I've been selling tons of that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why, started a non-sport store. I wanted more room to put some of those cards in. And, yeah, anyway. All right. I think that's going to be about it this week. Did you, I know we didn't get to all our topics. I think we did okay, but.
Yeah. We got a couple left that'll carry over to next week, though. They've got some staying power.
Yeah. So hopefully we can see all of you next week. If you're watching this recorded, try to join us live. We are live every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. And for all those of you watching live, thanks for participating in the chat. We can't do this without you guys. Oops, I wanted to turn it off. There we go. Hopefully we'll see all of you back next week. Don't forget about the GOAT Show, Sunday, March 16th at the historic Riverside Ballroom in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Hopefully you can join us in person for that show. If not, join us on the live. We'll do a live for an hour or so. So probably like 2 hours because I say an hour, but that never happens. During the show, we think that'll be a lot of fun. So excited to do that. And anything else? I think that's about it.
Just don't forget, when you see the GOAT, we're talking about some of the greatest of all time.
Remember, can't sell what you don't list. We'll see y'all next week.